So, I mean, how has this journey has shaped you as a person and as a future doctor? You know, everything that you've been prepping, your undergrad, your schooling, your experiences, and I mean, you mentioned what sparked the interest in you as a kid. And I just want to know from when you were a child and thinking about the medical field in a completely different way versus now that you're in it trying to get into medical school and you're seeing everything and you're getting hands-on experience. How has it changed you as a person and as a future doctor?
That personal component has really impacted me. Seeing people, I was really, really firmly cemented after I got my work experience and I was working face to face with patients. That's made the biggest difference. Because yeah, you can do if generally people who do well in a certain class, oh, I did really good in music. I want to go be a musician. I did really well in chemistry. Maybe I should be a chemist. I did really well in engineering. I should be an engineer or mathematics, whatever. So like I always like biology and stuff. I found it interesting. It was always cool to apply it and be like, whoa, like that's what's going on in my cells. Like every like 300 days, like your skin is completely new. You're technically a new person, like every year and a half or something. Like those are cool things to look at yourself in a new light and have some understanding of, oh, like the reason my fingers are colder than the rest of my body is because like there's less, fat and stuff going on from a neuro standpoint, like the neurosomatic map, there's a lot more sensitivity in your fingers than there is in your back, for example, and there's a lot more allotment to your brain, and that those are all cool and fine and fun, cute little things. But what at the core of it with the patients and seeing people in the worst time of their lives, basically, and being part of their journey for recovery or being part of their journey of treatment, that has really reaffirmed to me that I want to be part of that journey and I want to try to make an impact and I want to try to make their lives easier. There are people who I've worked with that have passed on now. I still remember when I was working in general neurology, we had an ALS clinic, and there was a lot of people who, the ice bucket challenge, if people aren't familiar, it's a degenerative neuro condition where you slowly lose the ability to use your body. There's a gentleman confined to a wheelchair, and his wife would come with him to all of his appointments, and he couldn't move at all. He couldn't move at all. And yet, despite that, when I was rooming there, I wanted to cry. Even right now, I'm trying not to cry. When I was working with him, I could tell, and like there's photos and stuff of him and whatnot, that you could tell this guy was such a cheery, outgoing person. Even when he was stiff, you could tell this was like a warm, welcoming person that had lost bodily function. And sometime later, every so often at our clinic at the front desk, there would be flower pots lined up. And I asked, I like to keep optimistic, hope for the best, expect the worst. I asked, oh, did one of the patients get married or something? Like, this is so cool. Like, these are such beautiful flowers. And someone at the front desk told me, that's from the funeral. That patient's dead. And that was a rude awakening for me to realize it's not all hunky dory, it's not all flowers and sunshine. And that really affected me. We sometimes have to do virtual appointments and we have to call the patients beforehand to make sure that they're ready for Zoom. Like we're ready for Zoom right now. For the doctor and make sure that everything's working, check their medications and all that. And I realized as I was going through the list of patients that were remote that day for a specific doctor, and of course this patient, not all of them do this, most of them don't do this. So this patient, obviously, they had a picture of themselves. And it said under that picture, it said deceased. And that really, I just stopped for a second and I just kept reading those words, deceased. And it's there are times, especially if you go into trauma, if you go into certain fields, sometimes it's more about end of life care and making someone comfortable, and it's difficult. And there's no end of sadness and suffering, and that's something to be mindful of too. But my cousin became a doctor a couple of years back, and his father, my uncle, told me he would say, "Oh, this patient will never walk again. This one will never see again. This one only has 2 weeks till they live." And my uncle said, "Well, how can you keep going through this list of people one after another? I want to cry after the first one. How do you keep going through it without missing a beat?" He's like, "Well, as sad as it is, if I stop to cry for the first one, I'll never be able to try and mitigate the suffering of that one. and the one after that, and the one after that. So I have to keep trying. I have to keep going. And not to say that you should be a sociopath and not care, but that's something that I'm a deeply emotional person. I cry at the SpongeBob movie. You
Mm.
know, like when they're singing the like I'm a gopher, yeah, like I cry every time at that scene. Like some people are like, "What the hell is this guy talking about?" But
Mm.
so this thing, it hurts me to see these things, but it also hurts me even more to think about it and then to avoid it. I would rather try to be part of the solution than to avoid the overall problem, and that's worth it for me. And that experience really reinforced. I can take it. I can handle it. It sucks and whatnot. Yeah, like it's gonna. You see some terrible things, but it's better that they're in that environment with you than not getting that care and just
Mhm.
sitting at home and withering away. So I am thankful despite how it can make you feel in the moment. It does it I you more often than not left feeling satisfied and happy that hey, this person's seeing a doctor and they're seeing a damn good doctor. And even if there's so few options for making things better, at least you're exhausting all of your options.
Mm. And on a dance note.
Yeah,
So
transition death.
for anybody who's like watching this or listening to this and feels like they're not good enough to go into medicine or it is too tough or any negative thought that comes to mind that's stopping them from going into the medical field, what advice do you have for that person?
There's nothing different from you to Stephen Hawking or the most famous doctor in the world. We've all got 99.99% similar DNA. It's like Kung Fu Panda once said, there is no secret ingredient. There is no like magical component to it. It really is a component of time and a matter of are you passionate for it? Are you motivated? I have imposter syndrome all the time. I think like me treating patients, I'm gonna damn try it, but that's a scary thing to think about. And all the doctors I've talked to have said the same thing. They were nervous. They had imposter syndrome. It took a while. It was surreal for them. All of the people in my cohort at my master's program, same thing. I have imposter syndrome. Why me of all people? But here I am. When I was learning to drive a car, I had imposter syndrome. I was like, why should I be able to drive this 2-ton machine on a road with all these other people? That's dangerous. That's scary. Me making these turns. I now I drive with my eyes closed. Don't tell my parole officer. There truly is not, there's no reason that you shouldn't try. If it's something that you genuinely want. If you don't want it, don't do it. Do what you want to do. And I'm not just saying that like, hey man, you ain't committed. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
Mhm.
you should be satisfied and happy with your choices. And I really, really would test you to think top three reasons why am I doing this? For me, I want to help people. I want to have a firm foundational knowledge, deep, no, further than foundational. I want a very deep knowledge of the way the human body works. And I want to have skills that are applicable not just in one thing. Like, for example, I didn't want to go into law because this sounds kind of extreme. If I'm like lost in the woods or if I'm in freaking like the middle of an airplane or whatever, what am I going to do? Be like, well, legally, you can't do that. Like, shut up, dog. Like, how are we getting out of this problem? With medicine, no matter where you're always around people, no matter where I am, what I'm doing. If I'm in Italy versus like Japan or whatever, I can always help. I can always show up. If someone says, "Is there a doctor?" I don't have to be like, well, I'm a doctor in the state of Missouri. Does that count? Like, no, dude, I can help in any situation. And on fourth reason, yeah, dude, like financially, that's kind of nice. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I want to take my kids on vacation and stuff. Like, that's a bonus. But even if a doctor made as much as a janitor, I still do it because what you're doing, the impact you make, that's what people talk about when you pass on. That's what matters. I don't know how much money my grandfather made, but I know he was a damn good judge and a lawyer. That's respectable. And I'm proud of him. I'm proud of my family. I have no idea how much money people make. But no one talks about that at a funeral. Okay? That's it's important. It is not completely irrelevant. But if that is your top choices, I want that 10 car garage, and I want my second reason is I want 10 cars to fill that garage, and the third reason is I wanna take a photo with my 10 car garage. Maybe this is not right for you. No, not maybe, definitely. You will not survive because that 10 car garage, you can make that a billion different ways. But there's only one like way to help people in this way. You can
Mhm.
help people in a lot of different ways. Every job in society is geared towards serving other people, but this job has a uniquely person to a very personal way of doing it that no other job I think can really speak to. Sorry,
I,
I
I'd,
go on
I'd,
these like long
I'd
tangents.
say
I apologize.
teaching. teaching. It's like you got to have teachers to be able to teach
I
so people
agree.
can go forward.
Every like, and that's another thing. You don't need to be a doctor to make an impact, to make a tangible impact on people.
Mhm.
You don't. Like, if you're a barista, if you're a pilot, if you're an actor, if you're a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, a bus driver, a postman. Like, I mean, these are all necessary and important things that if even one of them goes missing, you will feel their presence missing. You
Mhm.
will feel that presence missing. And it's important to, like, this sounds so cliche and cheesy, but you should go out of your way to say, hey, thank you. Like, acknowledge the people around you. You do, like, it's so sad how thankless most positions in the world are. Like, to this point, like, I'll thank my professors and they're like, why are you thanking me? I'm like, because you just, if not for you, like you said, I'm not progressing.
Yeah.
And they're so not used to that that they're like, what the hell? Like, this person has thanked me? Like, that should be the norm, dude. Like, like, you shouldn't be stopping and being like, what the heck's going on here? That's what makes me so sad.
Yeah, because it's we're so used to like seeing all these jobs or interacting with like all these people that we just like tend to overlook them and then take them for granted.
For granted. Yeah.
And then something happens, God forbid something happens, and then like that, let's say that professional is taken away, then you're like, oh wow, this was actually a really big part of, our lives that we didn't realize.
Too true.
Yeah.
Too true.
um Speaking of like, teacher and janitor and like all of these other pathways and all of the interests, that all the careers and different things that there are in the world, do you think that having interests or experiences in different areas helps or hinders in the medical field?
It definitely helps because you do need to have a lot of peripheral knowledge. Because, I mean, for example, like fluid dynamics, that's not something that like pops into your mind, but that's important for blood flow. So if you're trying to go into cardiology or if you're trying to go into urology or whatever, that's something that comes into play all the time. I mean, we have so many fluids in our body. Um, we need to know about physics. We need to know about the way certain parts of the body are going to move in motion and how, forces that play and internally what forces are going at play. What, like, the reason that you breathe is because your diaphragm pulls in, creating a negative space, creating a vacuum. So that's what pulls your air in, for example. That's not something you would think you need to know. So in terms of interest, in terms of interest of study, very helpful. If you love like learning about all sorts of stuff, especially for the MCAT, it's going to come into play for sure. Now, in terms of advertising that, I would not advertise
Mhm.
to admissions teams that, yeah, and I've also like considered engineering and this and that. They'll be like, great, go be an engineer. They don't want they want zero like consideration of like, oh, I've considered like doing this and that. They want you to be completely all in, which you don't necessarily actually have to be all in, but they want to think you're all in because they want to weed people out. I don't know why, because there's a shortage of healthcare professionals. What are you doing? That's aside. Like, if you're going to join the U.S. military or the FBI, you don't want to be like, well, I'm considering joining like the MI6 in the UK if you guys don't take me. Like, they don't want to hear that. They want to know that you're like dedicated to them in particular. Other fields, I believe, like law, they're not going to shoot you in the head if you, they actually prefer that you have some experience because, like, oh, cool, you have medical experience, great. You'd be wonderful for malpractice law. Oh, you're like, for example, my father was an engineer and then he became a lawyer, and that allowed him to go into patent law. So for some fields, it's actually a huge benefit if you have a diverse array of experience in different fields. In medicine, not that it isn't a good thing, but they really do not want to hear that you're thinking about other career paths. Like, if you're applying, you tell them, it doesn't matter what you actually feel, but you tell them, yes, I will die to for rural medicine. I will die on that hill no matter what. And then once you get in, you can do whatever the hell you want. But that there is a certain way, there's a certain dance that they just want you to go through. That's something important. A lot of people make some pitfalls where they're a little too honest in trying to set themselves apart from the average person. So yeah.
So all in all, when with admissions, say that you are 100% in, but
Oh yeah.
personally have diverse interests in everything in various parts of the medical field, so that even if you're just a foot doctor, you can, if someone asks you about something, you can, you can see where the connections are, you can see where everything is, you can answer all of these questions. And then the more you know, the better you can help a patient. But also having diverse interests outside so that that also can come into play in terms of, talking to your patients. It can
Yeah,
definitely
and
come
I
into
wouldn't
play.
say it's like for sure. I wouldn't say it's a prerequisite, but it would help. It would help to be interested in those things because
Hmm.
it just that way you're not checking out complete. Oh, physics, I don't care. Fluid dynamics, oh, I don't care. Like I hate chemistry, and I really don't care, but I have to be like, okay, let's try to like. For me, it helps to think about it. Like, for example, mathematician. If you hate math, and I used to like hate math. But obviously, this person, like this math professor, they would like built their life, their career around it. There's obviously something to be passionate about here. Why are they passionate? If I look at it more from a humanistic perspective, it makes it a lot easier for me to buy into it. And I try to be empathetic with them, be like, okay, well, why does this find it so cool? Like my physics teacher, most people say I hate physics. Physics sucks. My physics teacher was amazing. He was so passionate. We would do like little musical interludes, like for a break. We would be like, all right, we're gonna listen to Queen. And then we would just sit there in our Zoom meetings and be like, and then he would take like a break and be like, okay, we just learned a little bit about pressure differences. Let's take a second. He would take like a 2 liter bottle of water or like of soda, and he would puncture a hole in it. And because the surface area of the fluid was so small, the pressure, like I'm just kind of ad-libbing this. I don't remember exactly what's happening. I think this is kind of what this was like 6 years ago. But the pressure outside was greater than the pressure inside. So even though there was nothing, there's like a hole in the bottle, and like you would think, oh, it's gonna fly out. It actually kept the fluid inside of the bottle despite there being a hole in it. And I was like, that's crazy. You're a crazy person. I was like, there's a crazy person and doing something on Zoom, doctor. It was really sick. And I'm like, this is sick. And that similarly to what I was saying with medicine, it's something that like physics, you can instantly attribute it. Like with this, when I'm pulling it down, there's a gravitational force. There's the force of my hand. It's exerting a force on this. There's air resistance when I drop it. Now there's a normal force, as much of force impacting on my hand, there's the same amount of force impacting back on this pipe. So there's with like force diagrams, it's really easy to be like to apply what you're learning. People with math are like, well, when am I going to use this? You use it all the time. And these things are really interesting and cool, and that helps me to buy into the subject. So again, it's not a prerequisite that you take an interest, but it will really help your learning if you can think, why is this person passionate? Let me find out the reason why this person's passionate. That helps me to stop from checking out straight away from a lecture or from a subject. And at the end of the day, like not everyone likes leg day, but you only stand to benefit. Part of your body. It's
Hmm.
important to exercise all these different areas of muscle. Someone else did the heavy lifting. Someone else discovered this craft for you. Thank God you don't have to go discover it for yourself. At least you can sit there and learn about it for 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's gonna down the line come in handy. And when you're like looking at charts and numbers and everything, and you're trying to explain in simplest terms to a patient, what do these mean? And you're not like stumbling with your words. You can actually very like explain it in a way that is, well, human and empathetic, and make them understand. So yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so coming to the end, any last piece of advice or message for anyone that is considering medical school, going into the medical field, or, just school in general? Anyone who's like, considering college in general.
The number one thing, I guess this kind of goes back to your question from 20 minutes ago, where you're like, well, what's something you wish you knew? Give yourself some time to do your diligence and research. What do you really want to do? What is the day-to-day experience like in whatever field you want to go into? What are the prerequisites to get there? And start allotting time to not only your investigation, but once you start knowing these things, start doing them as you learn about them and make it make sense. Fit them together in a way like you don't have to start doing everything all at once because then you'll collapse. Like no one can do it all. There's a finite amount of time, and that's why you should spread them out. Give yourself as much runway as possible to truly take flight. You shouldn't be worried like, oh no, the cliff edge is coming up. Like, give yourself plenty of runway so you're already in the air before you even hit the end, you know? And if you're kind of, past certain things, the best time to start was earlier. Second best time is right now. So please, God, do your best to mitigate your procrastination. Give yourself a clear vision, a clear idea of what it is you want to do, what you want to get out of it. How will you truly be satisfied with your career decisions, your academic decisions? Try to minimize your regrets. And through giving yourself that time, through researching, through giving yourself understanding, that's how you'll minimize those regrets and you'll be more satisfied. I'm speaking from experience. I'm not perfect. As we've shared today, like I've had plenty of pitfalls, and I still make pitfalls. But it's not necessarily about avoiding pitfalls. It's about, that Batman quote. It's like how do we pick ourselves back to life? So, yeah, I think that's generally some of my advice. I'll let you know how it pans out for me, and if in a future episode I'll be like, so this is why you should get into engineering. This is why engineering is so cool.
Pivoted
Maybe
entirely.
I'll do it with like a disguise too. I'll be like, yes, engineering is dope. You should be an engineer. It's sick. Woo!
All right. Well, it was a joy talking to you, James, and so much knowledge and so much like information that you gave. And I'm sure that, oh gosh, I just realized that's not your actual mustache. You didn't have that on the whole time.
What are you
That
talking
looks
about?
a little too real. It fits your face very well.
Oh boy.
A little
I
too
do like
well.
these meetings in my office because I have so many like props and stuff. It's dope.
Yeah, I just want to say, yeah, thanks so much. Honestly, you gave like a lot of really great information and like tips and advice for so anybody who like, want is going into the medical field, anyone who's wants to go into medical school. Hopefully, you got a lot of out of this. I know I definitely learned a lot that I did not know. I know nothing about the medical school, so I learned
Not
so
yet, you
much.
don't.
Not yet, yes. And then I learned so much just just now from like the past hour and a half that we've been talking, and I know that others will also learn quite a bit from you as well from this interview. And I don't know if you are comfortable with this, if anybody does want to reach out to you, is that something that you'd be open to?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't care. I'll talk to what like I love talking to people. I'm currently mentoring several people who are right behind me in their undergraduate or coming out of high school, giving them advice and stuff. Like same stuff that I just told you. I tell people all the time, and I try to walk with them. I'll look at their personal statements and try to get, or I'll look at their overall application. I've gotten several of my friends' jobs, to become medical assistants, or to get or have referred people to my previous places of work to get them that work experience. So I'm more than happy to, especially like I can do anything remote, especially if you're on Xbox. I will play with you and we'll talk and play Halo. Or if you're in the Washington area, meet up for a coffee and I'll be like, yeah, dog, like so this is what the 414. But I do apologize in general for being so verbose and for my run-on sentences verbally. If you want in a future episode, I can do how to get out of prison.
Oh goodness, my goodness. You were just
Oh
waiting
boy,
for that. You're
where's
just
the key?
waiting for the opportunity to bring that up. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
That was very smooth, I will say. That was that came out very smooth. Yeah, so I mean, you're LinkedIn or Instagram that if you'd like to share one or both.
For show. I have my name. I have a Instagram. It's I don't have LinkedIn. I was just telling my fiance I think LinkedIn is stupid. That was just me. Um, so I have an Instagram. It is Gentleman James, but J instead of a G at the start of gentleman, it is a J. Gentleman James, James, all one word. If you follow me, I might be like, who the heck is this? This is probably spam. And I will block you, but hopefully not. I'd love to hear from you, and yeah,
Yeah.
or if you want to leave a comment down below and be like, hey, I'd love to connect or something. I don't know. I'd love to connect with you.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I'm gonna have your Instagram handle on the video the whole time so they can, find you that way, or you can comment below and I can connect you to James. And I mean, if you're gonna connect to him directly on Instagram, be sure to mention that, hey, I saw your interview. That's how I know of you, so that he knows not to block you.
Yeah, use Coffee Breaks Convos for 25% off code. And here's a little baby elephant. I made this. It's very cute. Look at that. I
Oh,
painted it.
oh
I painted that.
wow, that
Yeah,
looks
I painted that. Look
good.
at that. C plus J for my fiance.
See,
Little baby elephant.
he is not only a medical student, but he is also an artiste. So there you
Well, I'm not very good at being artistic, but I do love the arts. Yeah, I also want to be an actor. So maybe if we ever get into an Avengers movie, I'm like, so like, yeah, I was crazy, like Robert Downey Jr. recruited my ass, and I was like, damn, girl. But yes, thank you again, Jessica, for having me on your show. I hope to connect with you again in the future. But this
Oh,
is wonderful. I'm
definitely.
looking forward to your future episodes. My man Henry. Love Henry. I can't wait to watch that episode. I think it'll be a dope episode. It'll be a radical episode. Woo!
Also, I do want to give credit where credit is due. The "What's it like" name came from James after our long conversation about my show. He was like, "Oh, you should have like its own personal like name so like people can like easily find it." And so I do want to give credit where credit is due. So that came from James.
You're generous. You're generous and you're sweet. And my father is a lawyer and he will be in contact with your people.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, hey, there's nothing in writing, so oops, oops, nothing in
Well,
writing.
now we're getting into the legal debate episodes.
Whoops. And then the next
Um,
episode's it's gonna be in court. It's like,
oh
what's it
boy.
like?
Oh geez, what's it like going through court? Let's show you a civil suit.
Alrighty, okay.
Well, Jessica, it was a pleasure and an
Yes.
honor. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Um, Au revoir. Thank you for this opportunity. I can't wait to watch this and be like, damn, this guy's spitting. This guy's spitting, dude. Damn, okay, what's up? Where do you get that shoot from? It's from Paris. No, you cannot have a taste. No. But anyway,
Alrighty. Okay.
happy holidays.
Bye. Happy holidays. Thanks for joining me. Keep learning, keep growing, and don't be afraid to write your own story. And be sure to come back for another great conversation on Coffee Break Convos with Jessica. What's It Like series, Day in the Life Diaries. I know it's a bit of a long name. I'm working on it. If you have any suggestions or any advice on the names or anything, I'm still figuring this thing out. Comment below and let me know. And don't forget to like and subscribe to be notified of new videos. And as you heard from my guest today, that my next guest will be Henry, and he is a writer. He's a screenwriter and a playwright. So that is going to be an exciting conversation as well. So be sure to come back for that one. See you next time. Bye.